So it's name drop 2 books here. One is the Farnham Street book of mental models. The other one's Game Changer. So one of the mental models they talk about is first principles in the Farnham Street book, which is what's the first thing that you have to answer that informs everything else that follows. You take that first principles model and apply it to Game Changer, which is what Fergus Connolly does in Game Changer, and say, okay, what does success look like? And you can say, it looks like winning the game. What does winning the game look like? It looks like scoring more points than the opposition. And we can split off into attack and defense, but if we just say attack, what are the typically predisposing conditions that lead to points being scored in attack? The creation and conversion of uncontested scoring opportunities. What are the ways that uncontested scoring opportunities can be created? Force, speed, misdirection. Okay. Force, kick in the front door. Speed, run around them. Agility, or effectively for the purpose of this conversation, misdirection and agility are synonymous. How do you make the other guy think that you're going that way and you go the other way? And typically it might be that you go that way, he follows you, and you have to quickly readjust. So if you look at all three of those, force is evenly distributed. Everybody's big in the NFL. Everybody's big in international rugby. Everybody's strong. You're not going to find a team where they're twice as strong. Same goes with speed. Even less trainable than force. On every team, there's 2 or 3 super fast guys. There's 5 to 10 fast guys, and there's everybody else. Evenly distributed. Force and speed also, they are finite. You get tired. Okay, so the longer the game goes on, the more you're forced to rely on those 2 things. The more tired you get, the worse you get. I would hazard a guess. I can go back and check the stats. You can absolutely find between the top and the bottom team more than a 2x difference in defenders beaten, yards after contact, line breaks, and all that kind of stuff. So if you have 3 ways of achieving those outcomes, 2 of them are evenly matched between teams, process of elimination says actually it must be in the third. And the ability to misdirect an opponent, I would much rather run at a hole than kick the front door down, or run at a hole than have to burn all my gas to get around the outside of somebody. And if I'm incorporating perception action coupling, creative problem solving, all that kind of stuff, the brain doesn't get tired as quickly as the body. So it's better to have that misdirection, that agility in abundance, so that you can hold back on the force and speed that you do have, rather than be a one-trick pony that burns it very early on in the game.
For anybody that's listening to this and they're like, okay, I agree with you, how do they get their sport coach to agree with them? Because it is sexy to make somebody miss, but of the 3, nobody's really bragging about that. Everybody wants to brag about being big and strong, or what's your fly 10. Like, how can we help coaches understand that and apply it for their situation?
So again, Fergus talks about this in Game Changer. You have the OODA loop, which is all decision-making, all problem-solving is based on these 4 steps of observation, which is gathering information via the senses, orientation, which is deriving meaning from that information, decision, which is you draw on your experience, your interpretation of the significance of what's going on around you, and then you select what you think is the most appropriate response to arrive at the outcome that you want, and then you have to execute it as quickly as possible. For example, if we're in a sporting situation and the primary way that you derive information in field sports is via the eyes, in other sports like grappling, for example, I think there's a huge tactile component of how you feel your own weight and pressure from opponents and stuff like that. But in field-based sports, it's mostly via the eyes. So, for example, if I look up and I see someone tracking to my left, what I'm going to derive from that is, shit, this guy's going to try and beat me around the outside, right? And I might be looking at, where's he looking? What's the position of his hips? Where's the ball? In which hand is the ball? I might also look at, how many players does he have in support? Are the players in support on the left or the right? Are they deep or are they shallow? How many people do I have around me? How much space do I have between me and the sideline? All these different things. And based on that information, there's 2 things going on. synthesis and analysis. Analysis is what's going on. So what I just described to you. Synthesis is what do I do about it? So based on the information I see in front of me, I know that you're carrying the ball. And basically, if we use rugby, I'm the rugby guy. You can run, you can pass, you can kick, and that's it. And there's certain rules that you can do. You can go left, you can go right, and those are your options. And based on my experience, my preferences, what I think you're good at, everything that's going on around us, I'm going to come to a conclusion. Justin's probably going to do this. Based on this, I know that my response has to be this. Fuck, I better hurry up and do it now. Now, everything I just described to you, only that last part is physical. So if you got something where 3/4 of what's going on is not physical, the idea that you're going to solve that problem purely via physical means is fanciful. And what's going on is you're running through that loop at the same time that I'm running through that loop. Oh, that guy's tracking to my right. I have a bunch of space down the sideline. He has no players on his inside shoulder. I have support on my left and my right. What's he going to do? What should I do? Okay. And they say, whoever closes their loop first wins. We're constantly in sport, creating this model of reality, reacting to it, and trying to respond. But if I close my loop faster than you are now working off my model of reality. You see me tracking to my left? Fuck that guy. I'm going to cut off my right foot and go left. Oh, okay. Now I need to go through that loop again and react to you now cutting to my right, and so on.
Anybody that's listened to us this far, they're like, all right, if